and a very warm welcome to the old shop for another video. It is early June. It's a couple of weeks since I made a video, and in that time quite a few things have changed, so I thought it would be a good time to show you the front garden and just a few bits and pieces really. It's a bit of a hodgepodge this time. I'm sitting here in the back garden, actually been really busy in the garden today. I've had some help, which has been lovely. It was really sunny this morning, but it has gone a bit, well, it's gone really cloudy now, so I'm quickly doing this before it rains or anything like that, just to say hello. And so I hope you'll enjoy it, and I look forward to welcoming you here at the old shop. As it's been wet all day today so far, it's just maybe clearing up a little bit at the moment. But anyway, I thought it was a good opportunity to get on with some crafting that I'm doing. So I thought I'd quickly show you. I've done quite a bit of it already before I thought about showing you, but just quickly, where I am up to at the moment, I'm using the same fabric paints as I use when I make my travelling altars or hearths. And in fact, I'm using some of the same templates that I've made for those, for different things there and there. But what I'm actually making, I'm making a case for my recorder that you may have seen me playing on one or two of the videos, because I'm going to take it away with me camping, and I didn't want it to get damaged. So that's what I thought would be quite a good idea. I'm making another one as a gift. So I know that it's linen material, so it looks very creased at the moment, but once I press I have to heat set the pictures, that's not really the right word, is it? The symbols, the motifs, and I have to use an iron, a really hot iron on those, and that will make the whole thing smooth, and then I shall make them up into the bags. And I've just got a heron feather and a wolf paw on there. So just thought I'd show you what I'm up to at the moment, and then I'll show you when I get a bit further on in the process. All I've got left to do actually under here is I've just got one more deer print to put on for this one, and then they're ready for me I'll let them dry for a little bit, probably have a cuppa or something, and then I shall go and heat set them upstairs with my iron. because it's not raining, I thought it was a really good time to come and show you what's been happening out here at the front. Now, I did do a bit of tidying out here a little while ago, and tidying isn't usually a word that's very much associated with the old shop, and particularly the garden, but that is basically what I did. Since then, a lot of things have been bashed down again by more rain, and it's been really sad with the roses, because this rose, my lovely Desdemona, was full of flower at one point, but they just didn't really last 2 seconds before they got browned and bashed around by the rain. And so I've cut out all the ones that have finished, all the ones I could see anyway, and all the ones that were just too bad. I mean, there's this one here, for example, these two, they are discoloured on the back, but considering how few that there are at all now, that if you look at the fronts of them, you see they're still quite lovely, so I've kept them. And there are some buds coming. I don't know quite whether they'll come to anything. It depends whether we get lots more rain, but you see some lovely ones there, aren't they lovely? And the other rose that I love, that's just behind this one, Boscobel. Oh, there were so many of those. Unfortunately, this has got spoilt before they'd naturally finished. But here's a lovely one. I'll just show you this one lovely one here. Isn't that nice? And there are more buds to come. So it's not a complete disaster. And look at all the green. It's so green everywhere. So what can I show you? What can I show you? Well, in the last video, or the one before, I was saying I didn't think I'd lost too many things from when the trench was dug along the front of the cottage, which I'm still not sure about, I have to say. It's still there. I haven't done anything else with it yet. But the rose that was on this side, the New Dawn, has died. The clematis looked as if it had died, but there is here, well, I've just finished now that one, but a lovely clematis flower, so I think this clematis will survive. The rose that was climbing up has not survived. Its counterpart on the other side of the door, we'll just say hello to the frog and the sprite child on the way. It hasn't got much scent, unlike all the other roses in the garden, but it's a really lovely pale pink rose, and I remember it from years gone by in another house that I used to have, and I knew what a lovely rose it was, which is why I wanted one here. There's another one actually right down there. So sometimes they just get all over the place, and especially with the rain knocking everything down, and you find a beautiful rose where you least expect it. There's some nice alchemilla here, and that's doing exactly what you'd expect alchemilla to do, which is gathering the little drops. Alchemilla meaning alchemy, and it's got quite an alchemical look about it, I think, all the little gathered drops, like drops of mercury. So we've also got here the Emily Bronte rose, and that hasn't done quite so badly, I don't think. It hasn't suffered so much. I think it's a bit more sheltered here on this side of the garden because it's very, very enclosed. And you've got all the roses above it here, and most of them, I know it looks really full, but actually most of them, the vast majority, are on the other side of the trellis. They've climbed over to the south side, which is so my neighbours are getting the benefit of them. Basically, they're growing on this side, but they are definitely happiest pointing their faces to the sun. So one day perhaps we'll go around and I'll show you from the other side, but for now you can kind of see how luxuriant it is. This is called Paul's Himalayan Musk, and it's a really, really, really fragrant little rose, as well as being a lovely colour. Really, really happy with that one. It's done ever so well in the garden here. And there's also some honeysuckle. I couldn't tell you what the variety is, but I put some honeysuckle in. It's not the wild honeysuckle. And so that should be fragrant as well when it comes out. In fact, it'll all get captured in this space, and it should be amazing. This is my hope. There's also a couple of clematis here, and again most of them I believe are flowering on the other side, I notice as I go past, but there's one here and another very lovely one. I wish I could remember what it was called. I love that. It's got my favourite thing of having pink and green on the same flower, which I really like. Pale, when it's pale like that, really lovely. So yeah, I have to definitely go and have a look and see what it's looking like on the other side. Now the pond is still there, and in fact it's even full of water, but there's so much growth everywhere that you can't really see it very well. Can you just see a little tiny glint of water there? Maybe not. And for some reason, and I don't know why, the yellow flag iris hasn't flowered this year. Don't know why it hasn't. So it's not it's a very green year, but it's not particularly a year for beautiful displays of flowers anywhere. I think once a bit later in the season there'll be loads of Japanese anemones because they are really taking over. But at the moment they're just very, very green and large leaves because they've loved all the wetness we've had. With my little dragonfly here, I saw a real big dragonfly. I think probably for more or less the first time the other day when I was out and about. So that was really nice because they will start to become more numerous around and about. Hopefully see some on the heath before long. We've got the last of the Laquadiges, and it's a really dark purple one. Again, the rain hasn't done them any favours, but I think it's coming to the end of their season anyway, really now. And this is a nice flower. It's actually a flower. I'm not sure they actually are really flowers technically. I think it might be bracts, but anyway, it's called masterwort or astrantia. Always one of my favourites, and that likes the shade, which is quite useful in this garden. And I think it also likes damp, which is also very useful this year. A lot of the flowers have kind of come and gone, so you haven't had a big display of anything. Like there are lots of different hardy geraniums, but they've just had a few flowers and then flopped over or been knocked off the stems. This has been knocked right over. This is one of those very small, dark hardy geraniums, really dark one. You can see that even though there aren't that many flowers, you can see the pollinators around and about. And what it is a really good year for, which we'll see in the back garden, but also everywhere in the wild, are foxgloves. It's a big, huge foxglove year. And of course, bees absolutely love foxgloves. So you hear a real buzzing around where they are. So although I'm a bit worried for them because a lot of flowers aren't as good as, aren't as numerous as they usually are, at least it's a really good year for foxgloves. So it almost feels as if nature's trying to redress the balance in some way. Well, I think that's probably is all I can really show you. I think the most spectacular thing in the garden, this front garden at the moment, are the climbing roses, and particularly on the other side of the trellis. I can see the blackberries starting the flowers are starting to form on the blackberries. Don't usually get very good blackberries in the garden here, but that doesn't matter because the blackberries out in the countryside around and about are so amazing that you only have to step a few yards out of the gateway or door entrance to the yard and you'll find lots of blackberries as long as the weather conditions stay conducive. So if we have rain and then sunshine, that could be a good year for the blackberries as well. And I think that's probably it. I know I said that just now, but I'll say it again. The willows are tall. They're not tied up together as they were at one point. They're just kind of wild, but then that's basically seems to be the way things are, and things are looking after themselves to quite an extent for now. Apart from I have, as I said, cut a lot of the old roses out, hoping that means that there'll be some more, like another flush later on. I didn't get tripped up this time for a change by the devil's stone that's the only one that does trip me up. The other one is called the dragon stone from Kynance Cove, but there's two new stones here. Or these are newish and they're newly placed here for the four sides of the circle. I thought they'd be quite nice on the other side here, or at least that's where I've put them for now. They could get moved, but there's these stones are from Norfolk, unlike the other two, and they're from rather amazing rock formations at Hunstanton. I can hear it's just coming on to rain again. I can just hear it on the foliage above me, and I can see the first little drops landing in the bird bath. So I think the time has come to go inside and probably put the kettle on. Actually, it's quite chilly. My fingers have gone a little bit white and numb, to be honest. They've gone quite white and numb. So I shall go in and do that, and hopefully before long there'll be some days when it's nice enough to come and sit outside with coffee on the front step I seem to have spent lots of time doing that last summer and very little time doing that this summer, but it's early days of summer yet, so no, it's not midsummer yet, so you never know. Everything might change quite a lot in the next week or two. So here's a view of the roses from the bedroom window. You can get a better idea of the top of those rambling roses, the Paul's Himalayan musk. And the smell coming up to me here is amazing. I just wish you were here to smell it with me. It is just, yeah, quite intoxicating. I know at the first sight of these unruly beds you might think nothing's changed in the back garden at the old shop. Actually, a lot has changed. There's been lots going on, but I'm not going to give you a tour this time because this video is getting quite long anyway, and also I just want to save it for next time. But what I did want to do just before leaving the back garden is two things actually. One is just show you how the blackcurrants, despite my neglect, are really coming on. Obviously they're nowhere near ready yet, but it's very exciting. To me, it's one of my favourite fruits to see loads of green unripe blackcurrants. I mean loads. This is a very good bush. It was last year and it looks even better this year. So thank you blackcurrant bush, despite your neglect. I shall try to look after you better from now onwards. But that's not really what I wanted to say. I just ended up saying it. What I was going to say was that I am not very good at doing the things that the kind of preserving, making wine and mead and tinctures and all those kind of things, which of course you can do from both things in your garden and foraged items. Basically, because I end up not using the things for various reasons, I'm trying to learn myself a bit better and know what's actually worth doing and what I'll actually use afterwards. And you know, it's really worth the time and the care that goes into these things, rather than just making a slow gin and never drinking it, because I don't really drink alcohol particularly. So what I've kind of thought to myself is, what I will do is, I'm being a bit arbitrary to say 10, but maybe 10 different things I will do in a year. But they're things that I know that I'll make use of, and not fret about all the things I'm not doing. So that's my policy. And one of the things I know that I will do is to drink mint tea, which I'm kind of training my camera here on the mints of various varieties. And I know that I'll drink lemon balm tea. And lemon balm has come up in great quantities all on its own, as lemon balm tends to do. So, and I like actually one sprig of lemon balm and one sprig of mint when you have it fresh. So I think combining the two in a dried tea will be good as well. So what I'm going to do, very simply, is just cut some mint and cut some lemon balm and hang them up in the kitchen so that they'll dry, and then I'll crumble them for tea. I mean, I know it's not rocket science, but I think what I just wanted to say really, I suppose, is this thing about not trying to do everything and then fretting you're not doing any of them very well. Just choosing a few things to do that you know yourself that you'll actually use. And this bed as well has got lots of, as well as having all the foxgloves, has got lots of lemon balm here that's come up by itself, and it is actually starting to get, you can see there, some holes in some of the leaves where it's being eaten. So it's probably a good time now to harvest some before that process evolves any further and before they start to flower, and they'll lose some of the flavour in the leaves then, I think. So that's what I'm going to do, and then I'll show you when I've hung them up in the kitchen. So here we are. I've just hung up the mint in this bunch. They look really vibrant, don't they? And lemon balm in this bunch. They'll just hang up here to dry. The hardest part for me is not washing them, because if you wash them, it's really hard to dry them well enough so that they don't go mouldy as they dry. So you really do need to not wash them. But I find that really hard because I'm a great washer of fruits and vegetables and so on, and indeed herbs if I was going to use them in cooking straight away. But I have shaken them as well as I can, sort of blown any dust off them, and it has rained quite a lot, so hopefully they've been washed in that way over the last week or two. So yeah, just leave them there to dry. Another thing is make sure to crumble them up as soon as they are dry and not wait too long. Otherwise they just keep reabsorbing the atmospheric moisture. I might have put too many in those bunches. I might actually, after I've just finished this little bit of videoing, I might rejig them and make them 2 smaller bunches of each, because I think that'll be better. The air will circulate through them better. And with midsummer approaching really soon now, it'll be time to dry some more herbs as well. I like to pick herbs at midsummer, as is traditional, for using in other ways, like making some sweet smoke sticks, which I did last year, and I really enjoyed doing that, and I did use them as well. So that'll be a good time in a couple of weeks' time. Yeah, a couple of weeks' time, I think it is today actually, the solstice. That'll be good to collect things like St John's wort. Hopefully it'll be flowering by then, and I can hang that up on the other side of the fireplace. So all's good, and we'll look at the garden and what's happening out there next time. I've just come outside this evening to see if I can record the blackbird's evening song for you. The babies have fledged. In fact, they fledged the day I put out the last video. As it happens, strangely enough, but the blackbird, every evening she's out in the trees here or on the trellis singing her heart out, and I always hear her every evening, so I'm sure it's the same one. So I'm just going to keep quiet now and see if you can hear her. It's lovely and quiet out here in the evening apart from the birds, so I thought you might enjoy just a little bit of peace and calm. And I think with all these beautiful foxgloves that shouldn't really be in the vegetable patch but have planted themselves here, and I haven't got the heart to uproot them. It's quite a nice place to leave this video today.